Тяжелый шаг, тяжелый шаг, самый лучший рэп, самый лучший рэп.
Hi, I'm Sonya and this is a mini review of miharayasuhirohank shoes, how they fit, what's going on with sizing, and how they actually look like in real life. I don't usually do unboxings, but I'm a new blogger, gotta bring people in somehow. At least this one is actually useful. First, the shoes themselves. For those who don't know Mihara Yasuhiro, however, if you're here, you probably do. He takes iconic sneakers silhouettes and turns them into these chunky sculptural versions of themselves. The Hank is basically a Converse chuck, same low-top canvas DNA, but with this massive clay-molded sole that makes it look like it just came from another dimension, like right from Hueca. And they look incredible in real life, heavy, structured, and a little alien. Now, real talk for my fellow petite girlies with hips. Regular chucks never worked for me. I'm short and flat delicate sneakers just make me look like I'm balancing on two crackers. What I need is mass at the foot, something chunky enough to balance the silhouette. Now sizing. I have one of the most inconvenient feet for online shopping. I'm a 35, sometimes 35 and a half, and a lot of brands start at 36. Problem with 36 is that it can either run small or fit perfectly depending on the brand. But the thing is, the number alone tells you nothing. What you actually need to look at is the foot length. My perfect fit is Vans EU 35. It is US women's 5.5, which is 22 centimeters exactly according to their size chart. And now, Mihara Yasuhiro starts at 36, list it as 22 and a half a centimeter more than my foot, but on Farfetch it also shows as US 4 or 4.5, which sounds smaller than my Vans 5.5. It's confusing, right? Here's why. Vans uses women's US sizing and Mihara Yasuhiro is unisex, so they listed men's sizes. I also found on another website that EU 36 on Mihara Yasuhiro converts to women's US 5, which again would make it smaller than my Vans 35. None of this makes sense unless you understand that there's no single universal sizing standard. EU sizes come from an old French system and US sizes differ between men and women, and every brand makes their own list. That is exactly why I'm not English native speaker, sorry. That is why centimeters are the only number you can actually trust. Centimeters. In Russian it sounds like centimeter. In English it sounds like centimeters. Cut this one. miharayasuhirohank. The interior is 22.5, exactly as it says on their size guide. So technically only half a centimeter bigger than my foot, but because the feet is unisex, a wider, different heel shape, they feel closer to a full size too big. The width is actually great for me because I have flat feet and usually struggle with narrow shoes, but the heel was lifting when I walked. So I added 2 heel grip stickers, wore them for a week, and that completely fixed it. So the conclusion. Mihara Yasuhiro is completely accurate in the centimeters they listed on their site. Look only at the length, but also keep in mind that this is unisex footwear, which means it might feel a little roomy for women. Sizing is just something to keep in mind when ordering. As you can see, easy fix. What is not an easy fix is how good these look in real life. 10 out of 10. Anyway, on this channel, a humorous and philosophical podcast about life and anime, and vlogs about my life as a remote React Native developer who sometimes buys shoes slightly too big. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, and see you next time. Stay healthy.